Welcome to the Crimson Engine. My name is Rubidium. This is film news for October 2018. So as we ramp up to the end of the year, this is when a lot of the major camera manufacturers are going to release their big items for the year. We have multiple cameras from Canon, a bunch of new cameras from Fujifilm. Sony has a new lens, but no new camera yet. We're kind of all waiting. People are holding their breath for that one. And Photokinia and IBC have happened, but we're still waiting on the end of the year NAB in New York. That might be the last sort of hurrah before the 2018 wraps up. But it is a very interesting time to be a filmmaker. I would say the highlight so far for me is Canon's XF705, which is interesting because no one is talking about this camera. It is a fixed lens documentary ENG style camera. It doesn't do RAW internally, but it does do 10-bit 422 and 444 and a fixed L series Canon lens, which is the first time Canon's ever released a product like that. It has a 8 to 124mm lens, which the equivalent on a 35 sensor is 25 to 382mm, ranging from an f2.8 to a 4.5 at the long end. This is a camera that is going to fit into the cinema range as a much more documentary style, a much more run and gun, something that, you know, Vice News or the BBC is probably going to buy a bunch of, because it's going to give them everything that they need without the points of failure of a Canon cinema camera like the C200, where you need lenses and you need the body and you need different power solutions. This is sort of like an all-in-one package that they can send out with their reporters. You can get a bunch of footage that they can broadcast, that it's great for web, great for broadcast, in an all-in-one package. I can't wait to get my hands on this. Hopefully I'll be able to play with it a little bit and see what's out there. This is sort of like the documentarian's dream camera. Canon also have the EOS R, which I've looked at a little bit on this channel. A lot of people were excited that it was going to be a full frame mirrorless video camera. It looks like it, while it has some video functions, Canon has primarily aimed it at the stills market. It used to be that Canon did one thing, Sony and Panasonic did another, and, you know, each one had their own little niche. All the camera manufacturers have sort of gotten into each other's niches. So Canon is now doing full frame mirrorless. Panasonic is going to do, has done the Ever One, a cinema camera. Even lens manufacturers are getting into the act. Zeiss, the lens maker, has now made a camera which, by the looks of it, only has 2 dials and a button, but comes with a touchscreen version of Adobe Lightroom, so that you can sort of develop the raw photos it takes in the camera, which is a fascinating concept, and one I'd like to know a little bit more about. But as far as I know, no one's really talked about the video functions of it. Fujifilm have come out with 2 mirrorless medium format stills cameras. I don't know if they do video, probably a little bit and compressed, but medium format is becoming a bigger and bigger thing. You know, not just full frame like like a lot of the cinema cameras are moving towards with the Canon C700 full frame, but medium format, like giant sensors that are able to capture a lot of detail really close to your subject and still get a really wide field of view. So that's exciting. I've never shot on a medium frame camera with video. I have taken some stills on a Leica. Blackmagic came out with their own flavor of RAW that they're going to use in their picture camera and a couple of other applications. I think this is important. Canon have their own RAW now, Canon RAW Lite. Atomos collaborated with Apple to do the ProRes RAW, but as most people know, ProRes only works if your post-production workflow goes through Mac. If you have a PC or you're dealing with PCs down the line, you can't use ProRes because it's not supported. So there are going to be lots of different flavors of RAW, which I think is a good thing. I think the more people shoot RAW, the better. It is, once you shoot with it, is such a superior format than anything compressed like MP4 or H.264 or any of those things. You just get so much more versatility, so much more control. RAW, for want of a better word, uncompressed RAW, is so big that it's unusable with current computers. So you need to be able to crunch it down. I think the Canon RAW Lite that I'm shooting this on with the C200 is about 5:1, and the Blackmagic RAW is going to have similar kind of choices. So you're able to pick how much RAW you want and how much space you have on your card and what your delivery format is going to be. The last thing I want to talk about today is the insanity going on at Fox Studios. Disney have bought them for $65 billion, I think. They had two big movies coming out towards the end of the year and the start of this year. Battle Angel Alita, which is directed by Robert Rodriguez, produced by James Cameron. And then X-Men Dark Phoenix, which is their attempt to compete with, or it used to be their attempt to compete with Disney's Avengers franchise, but now that Disney own them, maybe they don't want to compete with it. There's definitely a future in which the X-Men are going to get reintegrated into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so we'll see about that. But no one wanted to really risk having their movie flop right before they got a new boss and potentially get fired for it. So they've moved both of those movies into next year, which left them without a movie at all at Christmas. So what they've decided to do is recut Deadpool 2, which is the only big superhero film that they've done this year that was successful, for a PG-13 audience, which means taking out all the sex, violence, and language that made that film successful. And they'll have to cut it down to probably about an hour. You can't release a 60-minute movie and call it a feature film. Feature films have to be 89 minutes. They're going to harken back to The Princess Bride. They're going to get Fred Savage to reprise his role as the sick little kid in bed. And they're going to have Ryan Reynolds in the Deadpool costume read him the story of Deadpool 2. 10 points for creativity, but it is a really strange world we find ourselves in when big movies get delayed because of political reasons, and to fill in the gap, they're re-releasing a hard R movie without all the hard R elements. It is a very strange time in Hollywood, put it that way. Thank you very much for watching. Keep making films, keep asking me questions. I'm going to keep making movies and doing behind the scenes on this channel. I've got a couple of big projects coming up I can't wait to let you know about. Check below for the links to the gear I use for my filming setup, and I will see you next time.